Semovente 47-30 is an Italian self-propelled artillery unit, SPA, from the World War II era, classified as a tank destroyer, light in weight. The self-propelled gun Semovente 47-30 was created in 1941 based on the light tank L640 and was initially intended for its fire support. The first pre-production prototype was built in May 1941, and from then until May 1943, 282 self-propelled guns were produced. However, production continued afterwards as well. The self-propelled gun had an armored cabin without a roof, and a 47mm gun was mounted on the frontal armor plate, similar to that used on the M13/40 and M14/41 tanks. Behind the cabin was the engine compartment housing the same 4-cylinder carbureted engine with a power of 70 horsepower as the L640 tank. In the Italian Army, the self-propelled guns were delivered to separate anti-tank divisions. The first self-propelled vehicles of this type arrived at the troops in North Africa in August 1942. 19 units were sent at the same time to the Eastern Front to the 13th Group of Assault Guns Cavalleria di Alessandria of 2-squadron composition. In both Africa and the USSR, all these vehicles were lost or abandoned. Only the self-propelled guns that ended up in the Centauro tank division were used relatively successfully in Libya as tank destroyers. The remaining vehicles stayed in Italy and were used in the summer of 1943 to repel the Allied landing in Sicily, resulting in many of them being lost. After Italy's surrender to the anti-Hitler coalition in September 1943, all Italian weapons and property, including 78 Semovente L40-47-30 of various modifications, came under German control. After Italy exited the war, an additional 120 vehicles were produced under German order. The self-propelled guns were put into service with German forces in Italy. However, due to the specific features of the terrain, the self-propelled artillery units were often used as command and staff vehicles. The surviving self-propelled guns were confiscated by the German army and used both within it and in several units of the Italian Social Republic. Additionally, some of the machines were handed over by the Germans to the Croatian Ustase and Slovenian Home Guard. The Semovente 47-30 was undoubtedly a necessary type of armored vehicle. It was capable of complementing firepower. However, by the time it was introduced into the troops, it had become outdated, primarily due to the effectiveness of its armament. By mid-1942, the British in Africa were increasingly equipped with seriously armored tanks like the M3 Lee and M4 Sherman, whose armor thickness of 50 to 100 mm the 47mm gun could almost not penetrate. At the same time, the Semovente 47-32 itself was very vulnerable, having only 30 mm frontal armor, 15 mm side armor, and no roof. Among Italian tankers, the self-propelled gun earned the mournful nickname self-propelled coffin.